Now the other thing that I've been getting, that I'm going to talk about, is veganism. I have a lot of people hating on me for being a vegan, which, you know, whatever. The thing that I want to point out about that is, if you're a MGTOW, and I'm living in Japan, so I'm also herbivore, the concept of herbivore isn't a word, it isn't a euphemism. Typically, herbivore men are vegans. The very word means that, grass eater. So many of these men, the reason why they've done that is because it affords them the ability to work less, to not live with a woman, and to have a standard of living that they would never have possible if they were with a woman. Now the concept you need to understand is, if you're a vegan, while it may be hard for you to let go of your meat, me not filling my body with death it's a weight off your heart, you know. It's knowing that my food that I've eaten didn't die, didn't have a horrible life and a horrible death. Knowing that is very fulfilling in your life. But also, if you eat meat, you are more susceptible to 80%, 85% of the diseases that are killing humans in the world, not just in America or Japan. 85% are diet related. And that diet that is related is meat, dairy, and eggs. If you stop eating that, which I did 26, almost 27 years ago now, you actually get out of the medical industry. Now I actually, as a young child, because of my childhood, if you've watched my video, you'll know that at a very young age, I was abused by my mother. And because of that, I ended up with manic depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'm bipolar. So all of those were solved by focusing on music and cars, which is what I really love to do, which is also what I wrote my dissertation on, and my diet. And because of that, very quickly, most of the things that I had cleared up. Also because of that, I haven't actually been to a hospital or seen a doctor or taken any medication outside of aspirins or Tylenol or something like that for a cold, which I may have one cold a year. I've never taken a flu shot in my life. So I've never been to a doctor or a hospital in 25 years. Now that's because I'm a vegan, because I had a very poor upbringing, and I've spent most of my life in hospitals because of what happened to me as a child. Also because I was a drug addict and an alcoholic and in a band in the 80s. So there's no reason why I shouldn't be going to the hospital all the time. But the reason why I'm not, and the reason why I'm healthy, and the reason why even at 42 I still skateboard, I still ride bikes, I still free solo climb, I still do all of that. I actually haven't owned a car in 8 years. I think the last car I owned was 2006 or 2007 when I was living in Japan before I went to the U.S. When I went to the U.S., I actually didn't buy a car. I actually ended up buying a bike or bringing a bike with me, and I only rode a bike for 6 years in the U.S. And since coming back to Japan, I've been riding trains and stuff like that, so I've actually gained some weight, only because I'm still eating the same way, but I'm not exercising. So when I exercise, I lose the weight. So I'm hoping that, it's really hot right now, and it's almost too hot to ride. And lately, when it's not hot, it's raining. So I'd like to be able to ride my bike more and exercise, but I can't. So, I don't want to die, because it's not cool. So, yeah, when you're when you're when you're vegan, you have much less of a chance of getting diseases. Now, there's many things that are misconceptions about eating meat. One of which is protein. People always talk about fucking protein. Where do you get your protein from? Well, I always say I get my protein in the same place that the cow does. You know, a lot of people don't understand, and this is something that I'll point out, and you can check this fact yourself. I'm not going to do the research for you, because if you believe it, you believe it. If you don't, fuck off. And all the research is there. You know, you can go look up Dr. McDougall. There's many doctors that have done the research. But if you eat meat or dairy, your body cannot digest those. It will kill you, literally. If you eat meat, your body will die. It had to come up with a system to digest it. So what it does is it extracts from your bones to digest the meat. It extracts calcium and phosphorus from your bones. So the country that have the highest osteoporosis are meat eating, and the countries that have the lowest meat consumption have the lowest, if not none, of osteoporosis, and that is caused directly from meat. Every body has cancerous cells. The only thing that sets off those cancerous cells to start growing is meat. So if you remove meat from your diet, and you remove dairy from your diet, and you remove all animal products from your diet, first of all, you're not going to be I look at it as almost like karma. I don't believe in spirits and all that bullshit, but I believe if you take out all that death and that hate and that pain that those animals go through, that you ingest into your body, if you get that out of your life, you will be much more happy in your life. And it's nice knowing that what you're stuffing in your face didn't die, you know. So I like knowing that, and also knowing that what you're eating is actually making your body thrive. You're becoming more healthy from eating it, and that you're going to live longer, and that you're not going to age as much, because actually eating meat is what tears down your body. So you'll notice that most vegans look 10 to 15 years younger. You know, usually there's a vegan woman, a colored woman, I forget her name. She's like 75. Her husband looks like he's 80, but she looks like she's about 40, and she's 75, and she's been a vegan since the 80s. She has her own garden. She lives in Florida, you know, and many people are like that. I think there was another woman that won the best looking vegan over 60. She was in some magazine or something, and she won the best looking vegan. She was so beautiful, and she was like 65, and she looked like she was like 30 because she was a vegan, you know. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. Eating meat is something your body cannot do. You are not designed to eat meat. We are not. There's only 3 things on the planet: herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. Now, the thing about, people always say that we're omnivores. Well, the problem that you have with that is omnivores, every omnivore on the planet, is more closely related to a carnivore than they are a herbivore. And how you tell that is, first of all, the stomach acid. If you throw a rotten piece of meat to a herbivore, they will die. If you throw a rotten piece of meat to an omnivore, they will live. They will be able to ingest it, they will be able to digest it, and they will be perfectly fine. There's many things, like the teeth. People always talk about your canines. Well, if you have canines and they're so strong and they're so tough, then why don't you just run out in a field and jump on the back of a deer and rip its neck out if they're so strong, because an omnivore could do that. Also, obviously a lion or a tiger could do that as well. They don't have to cook their food, because if humans eat raw meat that's gone bad, they will die. You get food poisoning, right? You know, so the stomach acid is something. But also, what's most telling is your digestive system is set up in a way where a herbivore has an intestines that are like 10 times the size of their body, whereas a omnivore and a carnivore are set up to digest meat very quickly, and they don't want to get the fat into their system because the fat doesn't help them. So they're designed, typically their intestines are 2 to 4 times longer than their body. So they're very short, and that's because they want to excrete the waste quickly. They want to take in the nutrients and get rid of it. Humans' bodies, they've said, are so big, the intestines are so much space that you could, because of there's little follicles inside your intestines. Basically your intestines, if you've ever seen an intestine of a cow, the human intestine looks the same way. We have little passages, and what it's designed to do is when you eat celeries and grains and things like that, it's designed to stick in those and hold it for as long as it can so it digests, and then it lets it go. And the problem with that is you're going to end up with meat rotting in your gut. And when they killed, or I shouldn't say killed, when John Wayne, he died of cancer. And when he died, they did an autopsy. And they found every day of his life he had a steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He was from Texas. He's a man, you know. So when he died, he had 45 pounds of undigested red meat in his bowels. And that's because your body, the human body, is not designed to eat meat. And it will hold that in your bowels. If you eat meat, if you eat any kind of meat, first of all, you need to eat things that have a lot of things that are moist, like bananas, things like this. You need that in your system because it clears out your bowels. If you eat a lot of meat, your body becomes very hard to push that through your bowels, and you become constipated, which is why a lot of females in their older age, you know, even in their 20s, because they eat so much meat, they become constipated. I've never been constipated ever in my life, ever. And this is a common problem, and because of the constipation, when you do have to go to the bathroom, what typically ends up happening is they push and they push and they push so hard that they end up with hemorrhoids. You know, this is a common problem with meat eaters. You know, these are all things that can be solved by your diet. And most doctors that they go to, the problem that you'll have is every doctor, this is a typical thing in the medical industry, when you're studying to become a doctor, they only teach 10 hours of nutrition. So most doctors that you go to know very little about nutrition. And they will tell you, even though what you're doing, your problem is caused by diet, they will say it's not. It's not the diet. It's not your diet. Don't worry about eating meat. That's not the cause. That's not the problem. We got to fix this, you know. We got this pill to give you. This will help, you know. And that's basically all they are. They're peddling pills. So, if you can stay away from doctors, you'll be more healthy, you'll live longer, and you'll also be able to, nowadays, a lot of the doctors and a lot of the medical staff that you'll talk to are females. And their interest in life is not yours. If you're a MGTOW person, you should know this. So, by staying away from the medical industry, you can also stay away from females, because a lot of the nursing staff and a lot of these women are feminists. And by staying away from that and staying away from the medical industry, you can stay away from females, you know. So being a vegan will help you. And if any of you have any questions about veganism and want to discuss it logically, you know, because I'm not going to discuss stupidity, you know, with a bunch of idiots, you know, because all of the science points to the fact that a vegan diet is the only way a human can be healthy. That's just fact. Now, you can point out, just like they do with the climate change, where there's 98% of the studies that show climate change is caused by humans, and that everybody's going to die on the planet if we don't stop. And then you can point to the fact of the 2 scientists that were paid off by ExxonMobil that say, no, climate change isn't caused by humans. It's just natural. You know, it's not our fault. You know, you can point to those 2 people and say, no, we're fine. And you can do the same thing with veganism. You can say, oh, well, there's these scientists that say that's not the cause, you know. But the overwhelming majority of scientific fact and studies that have been done show that meat and dairy and eggs are the leading cause of death in the United States and in the world. Heart disease is the #1 killer of humans on the planet. Not automobile accidents, not guns. Heart disease. And heart disease is caused by meat. If you stop eating meat, you can get away from females, and you can live a healthier, more responsible, more ethical life. And that's why I'm a vegan. I don't care about the religious concepts. I'm not really that concerned with the animals, although I do want to save the animals, but I'm not really, that's not my sole goal. It's mostly about me and about other humans. I want them to live a healthy, happy, responsible life. And by you getting out of the medical industry, the biggest problem that you'll have is there's a huge subsidy, and those medical industries pay off doctors that are in school. They'll come to you in school in your 1st and 2nd year. They'll start taking you out to dinner and giving you money. And when you become a doctor, they actually bribe you, and they want you to peddle their medicine, you know. So by getting out of that system, you get out of this perpetual take my medicine, it'll make you better, which actually typically most of the deaths are caused in America from the consumption of legal drugs. Most people die in America from legal drugs, not illegal drugs, not heroin, not cocaine, none of these things. It's pharmaceuticals that kill most people, you know. So this is why I'm a vegan. And like I say, if anybody wants to discuss this stuff, I can go into deeper details on it, of why you want to be a vegan if you're a herbivore or if you're MGTOW. So if anybody's got any questions, leave them in the description below, and share, like, and subscribe as always. And thanks for watching.